Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of Levack and Gaz. My allergies are absolutely killing me, so if it looks like I'm crying, it's only because Gaz hurt my feelings. It's not the pollen in the air. I swear, Gaz is a big meanie head. All right, let's do a version of the Kickstarter, kind of quick and dirty. Run through all these preseason games that we haven't talked about yet. I'm going to save the New York teams for a whole nother conversation, guys. So let's start with the Commanders hosting the Dolphins. Malik Willis looked pretty good. Malik, don't call me Bruce Willis, looked pretty good. But after that, it was all Commanders. The Dolphins have, two talented guys, maybe four, and that's it. And I think that's the whole story coming out of Miami this year.
My favorite part of this game is for you watching content of the NFL on Friday night. What channel is this game on? Wait a second. I got Disney Plus. What? So for those of you, thank goodness your eyes didn't get burned as the Miami Dolphins completed only 8 passes the entire game. 8? Levack, they had 15 pass catchers on the field. 4 quarterbacks, 4 pass. It's bad. And you're lucky you couldn't find out what streaming service had to air that on Friday night.
But Malik Willis looked like a quarterback, right? I mean,
way better. Yes, way better than everybody else on the roster.
Right. Okay. All right. We agree there. Also far better than this guy as the Broncos beat the Falcons 27-7. In preseason, the scores don't matter unless your quarterback, Tua, looks like Pua. How can you have 75 quarterbacks go through that organization the last 3 years and have none? Your best quarterback is your president of football operations, Matty Ice. Like that man. And the Broncos defense just looks special.
I swear I'm not going to do just television presentations and visual stuff and stream for every storyline, but the whole presentation of the Atlanta game looked weird. Like the end zone wasn't painted, the camera looked weird, the sidelines were bizarre. You had the meme now of Penix pointing to Tua like this guy. And I know he didn't mean it like that, but boy, it looked like that on that. The Broncos defense. I'm with you. I'm going to say that performance makes me believe they're deeper than I realized, and they may be the best defense in the NFL. The Falcons' offensive line might also stink.
Well, yeah, and I think the Falcons will be a team that will get better as the season goes on, but I can't say I've never been a Tua guy, but ever since he started getting hurt, Tua hasn't been the same. So basically you have a quarterback whose eggs have been scrambled more times than IHOP and Clifton Park. And you've got Michael Penix Jr., who I think he just tore something. Just hearing us say his name, just that point, I think he tore his rotator cuff pointing at Tua. So leave the pointing to Sophie Cunningham, sir. Leave it to the professionals. But just again, it's preseason. To your point about the presentation, I watched everything on the NFL app. When you go to the NFL app, before you click the game, it gives you the score. They didn't even bother doing the scores. Like you had to click through. Like there were no scores presented on the app. It was like you had to click through and actually they're like, oh, if we're suffering through this game, so are you. So that being that,
we want to track all your apps. You know how they ask that now? We want to know what sicko is trying to find out the score of this game right now. We want to track you.
How about the Browns at the Bears? Speaking of crappy quarterbacks, Bears ended with this one 34-10. The Browns are not good. That was my big takeaway from this.
This one stinks because this actually, of all these games not involved with the New York teams, should have had the best storyline. I really believe that because we were going to figure out, is it Deshaun Watson? Is it Shador Sanders? What in the world happened to Dylan Gabriel? Like Dylan Gabriel was a fine quarterback in college. Was it just a wasted 3rd round pick that he was that bad that it has to be Sanders or Watson? That really doesn't make much sense. You and I watched a ton of that game he played in London. One of the worst bad beats of the year for me when he hit his over on total yardage in the last play of the game. Still remember that. That cost me a parlay. Nothing. I got nothing out of the Browns. The Bears didn't play Caleb Williams. This was one of the worst ones of what does the future look like for these teams? Very hard to evaluate both of them in that game.
Here's my dark horse prediction. Dylan Gabriel gets traded to the Falcons at some point early.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah. When that happens, all hail. Was it Jeffy Scoops or
you know what? I know I'm jumping ahead. Don't forget about the Bills. I'm hopping in on that. I want a piece of that. Bills
All right.
too. I'm throwing them.
Well, yeah, we're gonna do all the New York teams together. But let's move on.
All right, fine.
The Saints end up falling to the Jags 24-20. My biggest takeaway from this game is Jacksonville has unveiled a under $5 menu, which I think is going to be great for the fans. Hot dogs, domestic beers, all for $4.99. Way to go, Jacksonville! And the team looks okay too.
They do. They look fine. They're going to be really good. The whole city of Jacksonville's got weird stuff going on. They moved the cocktail party this year. They're redoing their stadium, Everbank Stadium. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on with the Khan family. Shout out to our boy Tony Khan and his family. So they're doing all those things. Hey, Zach Wilson looked awesome. How about the former New York Jet quarterback? Did people realize he's playing for the Saints? He was great. I don't know if there's a lot to write home about, but that actually might have been Zach Wilson's best NFL game. Again, I think you're talking about, do you brag about your C minuses as they go on the fridge? That's a B minus. You're grading on a curve. That's an A for Wilson.
I think it's one of those sayings, like, what's the cliche? You can't win the job in the preseason, but you can lose it. Like he's working his way up the charts in the preseason. Sticking with the preseason, Rams top the Chiefs 20-12. Homer Simpson. I mean, Ty Simpson. He looked pretty good. Like Ty Simpson looked like a legitimate NFL quarterback out there. 21-25, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. I kind of feel bad for Stetson Bennett. I feel like he's never had a chance to really be a true backup. But does the Ty Simpson draft pick one preseason game in? Does that draft pick look smarter to you after his performance against the Chiefs?
A little bit, yes. Right now, he looks like he can play. He had some good moments in college. He looks like he can play. He's fine. He's probably not going to play this season. It might be a year or two. Sean McVay liked him. They don't want to overpay financially for the future of the team. It's a right move to take Simpson. We remember doing this under the orange roof at Hooters, RIP Hooters, of why that Simpson move made sense. I will tell you right now, if you're playing fantasy football, to pause this podcast. Don't tell your friends what I'm about to tell you. I don't even want to tell Levack what I'm going to tell you about fantasy football. In true reality, it's so hard to get a sleeper in fantasy football. I'm just going to fire off names here the last 10 years, maybe 15 years. Puka Nacua, Kareem Hunt, Victor Cruz, Cooper Kupp. After that, Alfred Morris. We're going a little further back, right? Like, it's hard to find a true, I don't know who this guy was. Oh my gosh, I'm going to win my fantasy league. We got one. Emmett Johnson, running back, Kansas City Chiefs. He was a first-team All-American in Nebraska. Nebraska did not play as well as Cornhusker fans have hoped, but he was a first-team All-American. He was the Big Ten running back of the year. He's a 5th-round draft pick by Kansas City. I know Kenneth Walker III's the man, but my gosh, where did that kid come from last night? That is a true fantasy football sleeper. And don't tell your friends about Emmett Johnson when you're taking him in one of the deep rounds this year coming up.
Yeah. All right. Now I know to take it before you do. Let me just write down Emmett Johnson. Got it. Thank you for that. All right. Battle of the Birds. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Ravens take this one 24-7. Interesting game for me because we all knew Harbaugh loved winning in the preseason. Would the Ravens continue to like be winning teams in the preseason? And they were. You love to point out what makes us feel old. How about this? Jacoby Lane has a great game as the rookie wide receiver, gets a touchdown, getting all the praise and all the love in Baltimore. He's younger than my daughter. So that's now I feel old. So there you go. The Battle of the Birds. Jacoby, I'm going to be able to do that as he gets a touchdown reception. The Ravens looking like they haven't missed a beat during the transition to their new coach.
He's kind of awesome, isn't he? He's got a little. You mentioned the daughter thing. I'll use a term from his. Got some aura. Got something to him. I like that. The Ravens and the whole thing and the dance of Ray Lewis in the past and everything. Okay, Baltimore. I sent you a text over the weekend. It was the annual Gazlowski Men Futures Wagers. I stared at Baltimore a long time, especially after this performance. I'm like, boy, oh boy, I had Baltimore winning the AFC. They're doing something after that performance to me. Interesting stuff out of Baltimore.
All right, finally, the Cowboys top the Seahawks 17-7 in the we don't really care about this game bowl. Like, you watched a lot of starters play a lot of minutes throughout the first weekend. This game was not that. Both of these offenses are going to score way more than 17 or 7 points or 24 points. But that is that. Those are all the games that have happened this weekend besides the New York games, which if you are ready, sir, I say we start talking about the Big Apple.
Let's do it. Where do you want to go first? Giants, Jets, or Bills?
Let's go chronologically. We'll go with the Jets. They played against your Buccaneers, 24-16. The Bucs win this game. The takeaway for me is Cade Klubnik. When he was out there with the ones, he looked like he belonged. Like he holds the ball a little long. He doesn't make all the right reads, but he doesn't do a lot of stupid things. Like there's a play where he gets flushed from the pocket. He goes all the way to the far sideline before he throws the ball away, but he makes sure he deads it. He keeps the play alive as long as possible, gives his receivers a chance to make a play. A couple nice connections to Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall did strain his groin this morning. So Aaron Glenn said, don't worry about it. It's not important. That's because it's not your groin, Aaron. Okay. I mean, the only non-important groin injury are ones that don't happen to you. Any groin injury to yourself is a big deal. But I like Cade Klubnik. If I'm the Jets, I instantly hire a new offensive coordinator and just handcuff Frank Reich to Cade Klubnik and develop him as my quarterback of the future.
All right, I'm going to offer you this prop bet. 0.5 over-under starts this season for Cade Klubnik.
Over. There's no way Geno Smith stays healthy the whole season. There's no way. So, yeah, I'll take the over.
I think so, too. I think it's over. He was about as good as he could be as a rookie. Wasn't blown. Mendoza-like. Am I already using Mendoza as an adjective already? Like, hey, he saw what the defense was, didn't make a monster mistake, looked comfortable enough to make it work, going to get very similar. So it was good stuff there. I'm mad at myself here because you had a wonderful thing you wrote on our prep sheet today, and I couldn't make a banner about it. Do you want to read what you wrote about Bailey Zappi?
Oh, Zappi is crappy. Yeah, he's I mean, Tua is Pua and Zappi is crappy. Like that's like when we talked about these games on Friday, I pointed out like when you look at these quarterback rooms and you see like, Bailey Zappi and all these guys, like those are guys who have NFL experience. They should light it up in the preseason. Bailey Zappi did not get that message. 2 interceptions, one of them not 100% his fault. It was one of those ones that goes through the receiver's hands and up in the air, but he just definite drop off from the rookie who was an underachiever in college to Bailey Zappi, who at one point people thought would take over the Patriots. So like Zappi not fitting in this offense, at least not week one. Zappi crappy.
I know that this is not how sports goes. I know it's like one play doesn't decide a game or one error. There's too many variables, too many things moving. It's too easy to say, oh, this play decides a game. However, in the preseason, when the game's moving at a different pace and the coaches are not exactly doing the same play calling that they would do in a fourth quarter to win a game, Zappi's interception cost him the game. The pick six cost him. There was no real like comeback threat after that. So unfortunately, that was the win-loss difference for Tampa. And New York had a lead in that game, and that cost them.
All right. Yeah, just all in all, I do kind of like the Jets. Like I think they took a stride forward, but again, it's going to come down to Geno Smith and Cade Klubnik. Can they continue to run that offense? And how is Breece Hall's groin? I'm sorry for everyone who's watching me be fascinated by another man's groin. Moving on to the other, their roommate, the New York Giants. They end up falling 13-10 to the Vikings. Now remember, it's preseason. Wins, losses don't really matter. What does matter is Jackson Dart got smoked. Like he's flopping around on the turf like a fish. He has since complained that every time I get hit, I get taken to the blue tent. Get rid of the freaking ball. How's that? How about you get rid of the ball? How about you not get hit? All right. But all in all, if I'm a Giants fan, I feel like I've got something. Malik Neighbors is going to be back. The Jackson Dart looks great. Cam Scatterbo did not eat a crayon on the sideline. All in all, I thought this is Malachi Fields is getting a lot of love. People, a lot of love for Malachi Fields, which is like my horror brain. All I can think of is the character Malachi from the Children of the Corn. So Malachi Fields, his nickname will be Child of the Corn for me most of the year. Just so we're clear. Just so we're there.
I think Fields is better than I thought he is. I'm very jabbed right there. I'm not going to forget that every time now he's mentioned on the show, whatever his role is. I know he's fighting for a roster spot, but now I'll think about that every time I'm evaluating him. All right, let's go back to Dart before I get derailed here. Yeah, that's just his style. That's what he's going to do his entire career. He's going to run around. He's going to throw on the run. He's going to get blasted. The moment of Daboll going in the tent last year was hysterical. That's just his style. I think his strength, seriously, like his strength is throwing on the run. I believe
he's an athlete. He's an athlete. He's an absolute athlete.
Look, when Russell Wilson was really good, Russell Wilson was fantastic at it. Patrick Mahomes is arguably the greatest quarterback on the run throwing that I've ever seen in my life. Dart's strength is that on the run, throwing the football and putting it where it needs to be. He is fantastic. The Giants fans should be encouraged by him. My gosh, I know I got fantasy football in my mind, obviously, as you can tell. He's going to get in the end zone a bunch this season. Like, there's that combo of rushing and throwing that he's a true threat when it comes to the red zone. So it's always what it's called. I was thinking about the green zone because now you're all making money off of, right? So he's got that going for him. Did you mention Scattaboo yet?
Yeah, just that he wasn't seen eating crayons on the sideline. So that's a win for him, I think.
All right. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that's what you.
Yeah.
I have to be careful with the chalk eating and the crayon eating with my house and somebody on the visual side. So my son sneak up behind me there. I'm impressed that his leg was still like seriously like I know there were videos like hours before that were showing that his foot almost got caught in the turf. Seriously, like they're like Scattaboo's leg is busted. It's got no. He's fine. He's there. He's playing. I keep calling him the modern day Gronk because he reminds me of Gronk. And modern day Gronk makes us feel old because Gronk is really like 15 years ago when we were in the prime of the Gronk era and everything. Yeah, I love Scattaboo. It's true. I didn't have to calendar.
I'm a week away. I'm a week away from 50. Don't rub it in. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
That's what Gronk is. Giant fans need to be encouraged. The young players looked very good. Scattaboo's there. Dart's there. I don't have a great feel besides Malachi, a.k.a. Children of the Corn guy, doing his thing. Gosh, I feel like this was such an important thing, but now in the world of the passing game, I don't know if it is anymore. Wide receiver one. The answer is Malik Neighbors, but we're not there yet on Neighbors. So maybe we don't need a wide receiver one. I don't feel any less way about the wide receiver position now, but encouraging if you're a Giant fan with some oohs and ahs. Do we call them social media plays? Is that how we have to do it? That's really what it was. Stuff that did well on social media were some of these highlight plays.
Well, also, 6 running backs carried the ball, seven players. Winston also had some carries. So, like, that also tells me that you know that you like Cam Scattaboo, but do you love Eric Gray? Is it Devin Singletary? Is it Tyrone Tracy Jr.? Like, who's going to be the rest of that backfield? That might be the biggest question for the Giants. The health of Malik Neighbors and who is going to be in that backfield with Cam Scattaboo? If he chokes on a Crayola to take over the game, like that could be the biggest question of the preseason. Is the backfield.
For our podcast YouTube audience who didn't hear this take on the radio, we were kind of joking about this, but it becomes less of a joke when it becomes real and you evaluate the roster. Levack and I were saying, like, bring back the wishbone, bring back the Delaware wing tee. Yeah. We're gonna have like Isaiah Likely as a fullback, or some of these like mixed tight end. I just left Syracuse football practice. I'm watching all the fullbacks play tight end. Like, fullback doesn't exist anymore. If you're a tight end, you have to get in the backfield. You get one guy in front, you get Scattaboo, you get Tracy, you get they're going to do some old school football back there, and it can actually work.
Well, they've got Isaiah Likely, they got Theo Johnson, that big, another dude like him, and they share a 34 pack of Crayolas before the game, him and Scattaboo. There's a lot of love for is it man? I think it's Chris Manhurts that they're paying attention to as well. But yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see some power. You're going to see power games out there. Plus, put everybody back there, let Dart run. He is an athlete. He is an absolute athlete. Maybe not the best athlete because that dude is probably still that dude over there in Buffalo. Josh Allen and the Bills taking down the Panthers 29-14. The first touchdown in the history of the new high mark, even though it's preseason. Josh Allen to Keon Coleman. I loved seeing this because Keon Coleman was like the guy who got abused he was the kid that got talked about in the divorce, when the whole thing broke up. So watching him catch that pass felt good, but Josh Allen is he still got it. He is special. James Cook looked good, but just all in all, the Bills look like the Bills. And Bryce Young looks short. He looks short.
Tiny, very tiny
Little
man.
guy.
Thank you again for joining me on the pregame, being the first guest on the Score 1260 side. That was awesome. The feedback was great. And I had on Sunday, after this game wrapped on Saturday, I was at my nephew's 3-year-old birthday party, and I was having a drink, and I'm like, man, Saturday's game could not have gone any better for the Buffalo Bills when it comes to talking, this job, media. The chef's kiss, as they say, right? You mentioned Keon Coleman. That kid, that's a week worth of content. I could do a whole week on whether he should be, whether he shouldn't be there. What we both are fans of him. Like, we both know he can play. We both liked him since he was torching my orange at Florida State. He's awesome, and the fact that it's him is so great. DJ Moore,
Love
in
him.
the moment that me and you were we were texting about DJ Moore over the weekend. We're like, the play where he's acting like he's The Rock and John Cena in a random August game saying, "Bring it on." What a psycho! What a lunatic! The fact that I get to hear the radio broadcast, and I believe it was Eric Wood who said, I don't want to see DJ Moore again until September. I've seen enough of that. He also said in the broadcast, get Josh Allen off the field. So now there's the storyline of, have you seen enough of the Bills? You don't need to see the rest of those guys. Because Allen did take 1 or 2 hits that they probably, one hit's more than they want Josh Allen to take in a preseason game. You have the Keon Coleman storyline. You've got the wide receiver having fun. And that story that hopefully people saw when he bought all the jerseys for the kids in Rochester, and that was great. The defense is going to be a mix of people, but, fine. I thought Jim Leonard did a fine job out there, and I kind of spoiled this already, but I want to steal your point again. They do have something going on in the backup quarterback spot, and I don't think it's very good. You and I have covered camp before for the Bills. They had Matt Barkley as a quarterback for a long time as a backup. Barkley was a can't-miss 5-star prospect. At one point, if he doesn't get hurt his last season at USC, he's probably the number 1 pick. They have Mitchell Trubisky, who was the number 2 overall pick, who's sitting behind Josh Allen. They have had a quarterback talented room for a while behind Allen. The problem is those guys are not very good behind him. Kyle Allen bounced around the NFL a bunch. You had the Allen and Allen stuff. Shane Buechele's a Texas high school legend. Dylan Gabriel, somebody else. Yeah. I know you never want to see the quarterback play, but those guys were the least impressive, I think, of any quarterback who took the field for it. And that includes the Giants and the Jets. There's something I got to nitpick on the Bills. It's who's ever behind Allen.
All right. Well, first of all, if you lose an MVP, you're not going very far. So that's, as long as you got Josh Allen healthy, you'll be fine. Speaking of your pregame show, I just want to point out, I do love the idea of this wide receiver room of DJ Moore, Khalil Shakir, and Keon Coleman. But I mentioned that I thought we would see a rotation of defensive players. 35 different Bills had tackles in this game. 35 different players had tackles in this game. Like that is, and I mean, as you look at the list, it's a lot of like 1 tackle, 2 tackle, 1 tackle, 1 tackle, tackles for loss. 35 dudes get in there and make plays. Actually, I'm sorry, 34 tackles, and then Anthony Kendall only had a pass defended. So I thought he had a tackle. I'm sorry. As I look at my notes, I think it's important to be accurate. 34 different dudes with tackles, 35 different dudes making defensive plays that made the stat sheet. That is telling me that as good as this defense looked against Bryce Young and the Panthers and all that stuff, they're still figuring out who's going to be who. I think there's going to be 1 backup quarterback. I think you're going to see them keep more defensive players than offensive players until they figure this out, and then maybe bring dudes back from the practice squad to get things going. But man, I got to tell you, this Bills team might be better than I thought they were, and I thought they were pretty damn good. So
no. That is my take. I wanted. Wait a second. We're doing our NFL preview show in 2 weeks. Wait, okay. 2.5 weeks. Nothing. You don't. I had you had the Rams and the Chargers. I had the Ravens and the Rams. I want to say the Bills are better now. Just remember that when we read tape, okay? I'm noticing if you're in like these leagues, if you're Emmett Johnson and the Bills, guys, huh? No. Those are my original takes. You hear me? So I'll wait for later in the clear. I was very impressed by Buffalo. If you couldn't tell them from Levack and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they look solid. We knew they were good, but again, I think we didn't see a lot. You know what I mean? Like we didn't see a lot of what they're going to do this year. I think I saw from Capaccio or one of those four veteran starters from the Bills last year still haven't been signed by other teams. So you know, like think about like giving up 4 starters, just saying, hey, we don't need you anymore. You're a deep run playoff team, and now you're just right back. Like again, preseason, it doesn't matter, but it doesn't hurt that they played as much as they played, and they played that well. The one thing from Hall of Fame weekend, do you remember the Drew Brees conversation? Drew Brees said that like when he went when he was with the Chargers, and he said I couldn't see the guy, and they were like, it's your job to see the guy, like because he was too short to see over the line. It's your job to see. He goes, and I never use that excuse again. I figured it out. Bryce Young looked like somebody who needs to hear that quote. Bryce Young looked like somebody is like, because again, he's short. Like Bryce Young is short. He's got all the skill in the world. But if I'm him, if I'm his management team, if I'm whatever, I'm reaching out to Drew Brees right now and going, can you do me a solid? Can you talk to the kid? Can you tell him what you just said? And can you tell him in a way that he understands it? Because that's it. He looked short in this game.
Can't fix that. Can't teach height is the old expression, right? The Panthers have a very interesting scenario they're going to have to play out with Bryce Young because that contract is going to come quicker than they realize. I want to say Bryce Young was 2021 was his final season. So he was drafted in 22. Okay, so 23, 24, 25, 26. So he's on the final year of his rookie deal. They're likely going to opt in for 27. You want to get that Yeah, they got some interesting decisions to make on him going forward. That is for sure.
Well, he finished strong last year. It's just I think it's going to be a matter of whatever they got to do. They got to, Drew Brees figured out short. You know what I mean? Like there's quarterbacks who have figured out short. Drew and it wasn't like Plunkett. Like Plunkett would scramble around and get over. Like I don't know if it's the the blocking. I don't know like how do you open up lanes. I don't know. Is it whatever it was that Drew Brees figured out? Bryce Young needs to figure out because he looked good for a lot of last year after he got benched. So can he do it? I'm rooting for the kid though, especially because if he's good, that means your Buccaneers probably stink.
Let's take a break there and talk about Mohawk Honda, shall we? It's Mohawk Honda where they always go out of their way to please you. We love our friends in Mohawk Honda. Glenville, New York is the spot for you. They are one of our partners, our sponsors, the people that continue to believe in us and in this show. You listening, we appreciate you, and we appreciate people like Mohawk Honda. Greg Johnson, the entire team there, are helping you find a vehicle across the Capital Region and across upstate New York. Sometimes you're willing to take that drive, and hopefully wherever you're listening, you are to Glenville, New York, because you work with people you can trust during the car buying experience. You're going to continue to go back to Mohawk Honda and find the ride you absolutely love. I love my Pilot. It is in my driveway. I'm driving my poor wife insane. I'm going here. I'm going there. The coaches are showing up late to interviews. Levack and I are taping at different times. The kids are going to practices and swimming lessons and birthday party. Have a vehicle that fits your lifestyle. She loves her Odyssey. I love my Pilot. Hopefully you can say the same about your vehicle. And if you're not saying that, stop at a Mohawk Honda today. Bring a nice hygiene product as well. We're collecting for the wonderful people and charities and the organizations there in the 518 to give to those in need. So Mohawk Honda, proud sponsors of this show, and they always go out of their way to please you.
Yeah. That I do love our friends over there. All right, college football ranking is out, and I don't have a ton of issues with it, guys. But I will tell you that I do feel like Oregon not being number one is just them starting a fight. Like I feel like I think most people have Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, some variation that one of those three is their number one team in the country. For them to not put Oregon number one and to put Ohio State number one feels a lot like a Gazism. Well, I mean, nobody's beat them yet, but they weren't the team. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we're giving Ohio State a lot of love based on what they've done over the last like 5 to 6 years, not what they did last year. But I do love Julian Saint. I said that he was going to be my Heisman pick, but I think Oregon is the all-around better team. Dante Moore could have been the number 2 overall pick in the draft. So Oregon should be number 1 for me. And then after that, we can discuss the ultimate disrespect of the championship game where they ended up.
Get out of my brain. How dare you? You're doing the Oregon take. I'm like, man, my Oregon take's coming up. And then you started telling me, you 8-miled me there for a second. I'm like, he knows me too well. And to go even further, to even put you more in a pretzel here, I had my little thumb hovering above Oregon yesterday at a plus 750, plus 800 at another sports book to win the national championship. I took Oregon 2 years ago. And if Oregon, and they didn't, they got, gosh, I got a lot of gambling on my mind today in fantasy, but that Ohio State Oregon Rose Bowl, you and I were on radio side. Then I said, boy, that is the ultimate sucker bet. 6.5. Go ahead, take the Ducks. Go ahead, take them. And Ohio State ran them off the field in that game. That was never close. But they actually should have never have played Ohio State. Ohio State was arguably the fourth or third best team in the country that year, and they ended up winning the national championship. But Oregon, and to the Gazism, now I'm talking to myself in the third person, but I would vote Notre Dame as the best team in the country. So I would tell you that I think Notre Dame should be the number one team in the country for a variety of reasons. They have the best defense in the country. They have the best offensive line in the country. They return a ton of production. CJ Carr is fantastic. But this is where the Gazism leads up to his name. I wouldn't pick them to win the national championship. So if that doesn't make sense to people, like, well, why would you say they're not the best team if you're not going to pick them to win the national championship? Oregon, again, now 2 years later, might fall for the trap. I do believe Oregon will win the national championship. So rank them as you will, because Oregon's got as much talent as Notre Dame. They're right there with them. The biggest difference will be 3 months of football. Oregon will be tested in the Big Ten. Notre Dame has a hard game against Miami. BYU will be tough. I wish I could tell you Syracuse would be tough. Hopefully I'll be at that game. But Notre Dame's going to be favored in every single game this season, and a lot of their games are going to be double-digit favorites. Can you have that level of competition for 3 months and get a bye into the postseason and get smacked in the quarterfinals? It's possible. Semis. While Oregon's got a lot tougher of a schedule, plus potentially a Big Ten title game. So I would have voted Notre Dame number one. Ohio State's schedule is super tough. Georgia brings back a lot of talent, but my top 5 would have been Notre Dame, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, and Indiana. And I would have flipped Indiana and Texas because Indiana's the defending national champions. They went undefeated. Texas, this is the stuff that drives me nuts about these polls in college football. So Texas underachieved last season. Texas was the team to beat last season. Texas wasn't better than Indiana last season. Texas is ranked higher. Okay. Texas Tech beat every team by 2 touchdowns last season. Texas Tech in the semifinals are right there. They're lower than LSU. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, I can keep going. Those are the things I would have right there. Those are the 2 that jump out to me as those rankings.
Well, remember, this is all speculation. This is all speculation at this point. This is what we think they'll do this year. But I'm with you, man. Like Oregon looks like the most complete team. I think Lanning finally gets over the hump, which would mean the Big Ten wins 4 straight national championships. Just remember, you can't spell SEC you can't spell second without SEC. Sorry, I got my joke backwards. I'm so excited. But like, I think they do these preseason ones to piss us off. Like, I literally think that they're like, hey, I think Oregon's the best team. Yeah, everybody thinks Oregon's the best team. Well, what do you mean? Let's put Ohio State one. Well, shouldn't we put Notre Dame one? No, because a lot of people like Notre Dame. Let's put Notre Dame 4. Wait, what? What about Indiana? They were undefeated last season. They got to transfer a quarterback. They look really, really good. Let's make them 6. What are you doing? Yeah, nerd rage. It's gonna be great. Yeah, Pat McAfee just broke his desk. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, yeah.
Like even Ohio, to your point, like Ohio State, Texas, they're gonna play each other week 2.
Right.
So like
that's gonna get sorted real quick.
Exactly. So if you voted Ohio State 1 and Texas beats them, then Texas should be your number 1 team in the country. And some of the Ole Miss plays LSU early in the season. They're both top 12 teams, so that's going to get figured out earlier in the season. To your point, it's either I want some drama and have those numbers sitting for TV purposes and storylines, or I'm going to let these teams earn it, which is an odd way to vote, but I don't disagree with your take that some people want to vote like that.
Ohio State schedule. So Ball State's your warm up. Then, like you said, they go to Texas. Then they get Kent State, Illinois, but then they go to Iowa. They host Maryland. That's okay. They go to Indiana. They go to USC. Oregon comes to them. Ohio State has got, and the end with the game, Michigan 16. I think this is going to blow some people's mind. I think 16 is a very fair ranking for the Michigan Wolverines. I think it's a very fair ranking. I think any higher, and you'd be setting me up for failure. Any lower, you'd be setting me up to be angry. I think 16 is a very This is a team that is very talented, very experienced coaching staff, lots of change, lots of flux. And I don't necessarily, I think they're probably a 2-loss team, maybe 3, but I think 16 means that they're going to go out there, they're going to perform very strongly in a lot of people's eyes, but maybe just a little too much to ask to go out there against the Oregons and Ohio States and Penn State. Penn State is another team that probably didn't get the respect it deserves just because of the change. But like, I mean, come on, the Big Ten is freaking stacked.
It is loaded. It's arguably, someone say there's no more argument left, but it's arguably the best conference in college football. I said the argument someone was gone because of the consecutive titles that have been won, but SEC is still going to get, every time someone's going to talk about the SEC, and we'll fall victim to this too, it's a brutal schedule, especially with a 9-game conference schedule, which is, I don't think anybody really, seriously, from media members to coaches to players to, no one knows the impact of the 9-game conference schedule quite yet, if they're just going to beat up each other or people are going to view it as tough competition. Yeah, the only issues I have is the top, which is rare in a top 25 poll because usually it's the bottom. Usually the bottom's like, oh, a team only got in because they're a brand name or they're getting overhyped because they had a traditionally good past. Nope. Clemson's not in the top 25. Florida's not in the top 25. Is Boise a traditional power? Probably not, but I think people like to put them in the top 25. A lot of those schools aren't there, while schools like SMU, Utah, Houston, Missouri did crack. So, yeah, it feels pretty good. It's got me excited. Levack, we got one more weekend coming up. And then week 0's next.
I just noticed something I think is a little strange. So I've got the ESPN app open next to me. When I click on the Michigan Wolverines link at 16, it takes me to Iowa State. What are they trying to say? What are they trying to tell us? What are you trying to do? Is Iowa State who you really wanted to put there? ESPN? Is that what happened? And you settled for my Wolverines?
Speaking about weird things with Michigan, that's one of them. But I heard this take, and I don't know who gets credit for it. You know who? I know. I take that back. I know who gets credit for this. Shout out to Jeff Schwartz. He's getting a lot of shout outs these days. He had an interesting quote about your Wolverines and Kyle Whittingham. He said, does anyone find it odd that he didn't try to bring over Dampier, the quarterback? Like almost all the time at every single transfer spot, the coach brings the quarterback. Perk at UAlbany did it. Like Dion did. Well, that Dion's the son, but still, like that's almost like the go-to. I'm bringing the quarterback with me. He didn't even ask him. I know Underwood's good, and maybe there's a contract thing, and maybe it's locked in. Maybe it was. We never heard one report that Dampier was going Whittingham. That says something to something. Either how good Underwood is, how good Dampier is, what college sports. There's some story there, and I'm not quite sure where it is, but there's something.
I don't think there is. I think when you take that job, what was Underwood? He was a 5-star. He was a
number 1 player in the country, 5-star, right. Can't miss, highest paid kid in NIL history at that point.
When he said, "I'll stay after you fire dumbass," I'm sorry, whatever. I'm not even
Moore.
Who? Never heard of him. I think when he said, "I'll stay," it was pretty much guaranteed. Whoever they brought in, this is your quarterback, and if you can't figure out how to win with the number 1 and the 5-star and all these things, who's loyal enough to us after millions of dollars, then you don't belong here. So like, I think bringing his quarterback with him would send the wrong message. So that's not to hurt your hero, Geoff Schwartz. But that's a dumb take. It's a dumb take. Could have been talked about, but it never could have happened because that you can't have a quarterback competition in this situation. Underwood is the constant. He's the thing. You came here to show off your classic pickup truck that you drive around in, add stability, and turn Underwood into a Heisman candidate. That's why you're here.
I can't wait for college football. Did you know that? I know you're off next week, but we got some college football content.
I'm gonna be on
parlays.
I'm gonna be on.
I think you are. I'm gonna force you into your
no, not the show. I'm gonna be on Buzz. I'm gonna be all over the place.
I'm getting your college football picks before you head off to Disney to celebrate the big birthday next week. I love this story about Steve Ballmer. Here's why I love this story, because it's wrong and you're a liar, NBA. That alien Adam Silver's trying to bust out the Men in Black memory eraser thing right now to act like we don't know. There are so many details, and in a podcast like this format, it's hard to get to them all. I would highly recommend doing doing your own research. What am I, a doctor now? There's just too much to go through. But let me just set it up like this. The NBA did a, quote, year-long investigation. Other reports are saying an 11-month investigation that found no evidence that Steve Ballmer circumvented the salary cap. I had a gym teacher, Mr. Mackey, say, circumvent the gymnasium. Circumvent the salary cap. The NBA is focused on whether the team's introduction of Kawhi Leonard to the team's sponsors constitutes a violation of the league's rules prohibiting salary cap. Circumvent. I spelled that wrong. You get the word. Levack, here's my thought on this because of all the details I went into this report. For lawyers or pre-law 101, they teach you there's a difference between innocent and not guilty. I feel like this is a perfect example of anyone who 100%. Ever can. Right? This is the perfect example of the difference between not guilty and innocent. I do not think for a second Steve Ballmer's innocent, but they may have ruled not guilty. Like, I don't know what your take is of reading this today, but that's kind of how I feel.
This is okay. You know that when we go with the conversations about, the salary cap in the NBA and things like that, it's like it's realistically only as real as your ability to find loopholes. That's what this is. And I like most of the reports I've seen are worded like, not guilty, whatever, is it, no evidence, whatever. But when you peel the onion a couple layers and see the verbiage is being used, it's basically we couldn't prove it. You know, like, and that's a guy as rich and successful as Steve Ballmer, who says ball in his last name and isn't been ridiculed into death. Like, that dude is going to find loopholes. That dude he knows. He's got offshore accounts. He's got tax shelters. Any sleazy phrase you can think of for hiding money or doing things a different way or other than legal. We'll say not illegal, other than legal. That the dude knows how to do it. He didn't get into this. That's the thing he knew. You know what I mean? He's figuring out basketball. He knew how to move money. So like the fact that we're shocked they couldn't prove it. Dude, he would have sued them into the Stone Age if they tried to, because they would never been able to actually prove it was him.
Here we go. Ding, ding, ding. This conveniently worked out for Steve Ballmer. The end result was in his favor. To add some details to this, the Aspiration LLC, this company that had paid Kawhi Leonard or changed the way in this salary cap happened, that company went under. That company went bankrupt. That company went viral because it defrauded millions of dollars from a business, including maybe as high as billions. And many people lost money in the company. Gosh, they ran Super Bowl ads and it just wasn't real. So from my perspective, reading the details, finding this whole thing out, there obviously was a relationship there. Pablo Torre did the legwork that here's a relationship the Clippers had with this company. And at some point, maybe Kawhi Leonard would have done whatever this thing was. And I'm talking about an endorsement, a video clip. There would have been some type of relationship. But Steve Ballmer has a legitimate case and says, no. These people lied to me. These people defraud. These people are frauds. Here's what I did. Here's what they did to me. They cannot be trusted. And if you don't believe me, here's all the evidence. And they might look at that and say, like, well, he's right. Now, just because that part's right doesn't mean what he was doing was also right. Like, he could be from the information I got, he did luck out. Like, we're gonna pick up a random company here. Gosh, I don't want to. I'm picking Belfour just because you do your. If they work for Belfour and Belfour is a legitimate, real company, and they're like doing things the right way, it's like, hey, it's Kawhi Leonard here for Belfour Restoration Properties. He probably would have been down. Thank you. He would have been down the creek. He would have been toast. He got lucky. He's not guilty, but he's not innocent.
Well, I mean, NIL. I mean, we're learning more and more about this. Like, the school can't officially, now they can a little bit, but like a lot of your NIL is a secondary company. It's an LLC. It's something outside of the school, but the school directly benefits from the NIL. The school is adjacently aware of what the NIL program is doing, because, like, all right, let's say we recruit Rex. Okay, Rex, we want you to play football at UAlbany, and we have an NIL package for you of $500,000. Okay, great. And then all of a sudden the school goes, why the hell did you give Rex Kozlowski $500,000? We like him, but we wanted to go. The school knows, like, you know what I mean? Like the what is it? Saints Marching, I believe is the NIL program for
March
Santa.
on. Yep.
March
March
on.
on.
All right. March on. So like, it's not like the school can't force March on to give the NIL money, and the school is not directly in charge of the NIL money. However, you know that they're talking. Hey, Nevada, how are you? Good, man. How are you? Hey, who do you like? Oh, we love this guy, and this. We love we love Abe. We want him. All right. What's the fair NIL? Okay, boom. But they're working together, but they're not the same organization. So you can't tell me that Ballmer has been working with these other companies, and all of a sudden these other companies go and they give one of Ballmer's prize free agent targets this big cash payout. Ballmer may not have been the guy who cut the check, but they probably called him and went, "Hey, we're going to take care of Kawhi." Okay, cool, great. All right, don't do it for the exact amount of money I gave you. Oh no, okay, we will less 10%. Got you. All right, cool. Like it's not. If you could prove any of those conversations, it's a whole other animal. But there's layers, there's ways to do things. Hell, when you go to your accountant, you go to a tax guy versus doing your own taxes, you get more money back. Why? The laws didn't change, but that dude knows how to see every single detail and get the right thing in. And like when I sit down with my accountant at the end of the year or before April, it's literally like, hey, ultimately it's your choice what we claim, what we don't claim. Here's what I recommend. And then like a lot of times he'll give me like he loved it when I used to go off about Rex Ryan's red light, yellow light, green light. And I'll be like, well, what about this? He'd be like, yellow light. I'm all right, don't do it. Or green light. Right. I heard about this. That's a red light, Levack. Don't do that. Okay, cool. Like, but it's ultimately up to me. But he's the one doing the work. You find the person who knows how to navigate the waters. You're going to get through them a lot smoother. And that's what Ballmer did. He knew how to navigate these waters, and now they can't prove that he even swam in that lake at all.
There are some owners in the NBA too, I'm sure, today that just pop themselves a nice expensive bottle of champagne, because they might be doing it, and they don't have Pablo Torre up their butt trying to chase them around for a year.
Pablo Torre's out of control. I love it. But I mean, if you ever find like a text or something, if they were ever dumb enough to do that, a whole other animal. But Ballmer's not stupid. I mean, they had to get Al Capone for tax evasion. Okay. You think that's the worst thing Capone did? Nah, not even close. Not even close.
I'm bummed that this is our final story because of our relationship with this guy over the years. But over the weekend, legendary New York Yankee, legendary pitcher in general, Tommy John passed away. Pitched for 20 plus years, 288 career wins. Tommy John, a letter from Tommy John was posted earlier this month. We knew he had been moved to hospice care and he passes away over the weekend. Levack, you and I have been very blessed, fortunate. We cherish our conversations with now the late Tommy John, who passed at 83 years old. What are some of your memories of being fortunate enough to talk to one of the great people in baseball history?
So Tommy John was one of those guys that you had an established, kind of relationship with because of your former job. I hadn't really got to speak to him. So when you were like, hey, we can have Tommy John on, I'm like, no, we can't. We're not going to.
Wait. I want to add to that story. I don't want to cut you up, but I know that story very, very well. I actually was going to say that story. I mean, you were in my mind today.
No, okay, I'm just going to, I wasn't going to give the full details. You can give the details. I was going to talk about, like, he's a superstar. You know what I mean? Like he there's a surgery named after him. There's all these things. And his baseball card, I remember as a kid, the back of his baseball card was longer than ever. They'd have like a second card just to get all the teams and stats and years on. I did not expect him to be as gracious, as welcoming, and as friendly as he was to us every single freaking time. And he wouldn't have said freaking. So like, just a guy like that doesn't have to be nice. He doesn't have to be your buddy. He doesn't have to be your pal, especially when he doesn't know you. And he was. And so it hurts to lose a guy that you actually like. He's one of those guys, like, I used to horse around with, like, we were waiting to go on and stuff, and I'd be like, hey man, you want to get a beer or whatever? And he'd be like, yeah. And he would remember that stuff later and be like, why haven't we gotten a beer yet? And I'm like, I thought you really think I'm cool enough to get a beer with? Like, that's so I guarantee you that he was so authentically real. There's other people out there who would tell a completely opposite story as to what I'm saying, but he was always just genuine, authentic, open, friendly, and willing to take the time to talk to two jackasses from Albany whenever we call them.
That is so true. There are people in the media world that when the camera comes on or the microphone gets turned on, they're going to act a certain way. And when the camera goes off and turns off, there's a different person. Some would say, hey, they got to be a professional. They've got to hold up something. Other people are like, this is me. You are going to get me off. This is the authentic version of me. The story Levack is talking about, this is a story that's going to last in my life and my career for a long time because I'd worked in Syracuse. Mike Lindsley, I worked on his show. I, as a smart producer, kept all the numbers. So like, I'm produced. Why not? Right? You're the producer. You got to book the show. Like you got it. That's a part of the gig. So when I came out to Albany and I was Levack's producer, and I actually tagged Armin in this. It was you, Armin, and Eric was the intern. You guys, I was 2 weeks into the job, and Masahiro Tanaka needed Tommy John surgery. And I believe Armin yelled over to me. He's like, guys, you got any contacts who could talk about Tommy John surgery? And I was like, yeah, what about Tommy John? And you both
like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, buddy, yeah. And I was like, no, I think I can get him on the show. And they're like, okay, sure you can. And not even 20 minutes later, yeah, he's on Thursday at 1:30. Okay. All right, producer. That was one of those moments in my life where I'm like, oh man, not only did I book him, yeah, you're right.
He dropped it on the table like, what?
That felt good. Not only did you book him, and he was an awesome guest. It was like, okay, I got my career going a little bit, and I would highly recommend for those who aren't on social media. I'm going to spoil it a little bit, but Eric Hanneman are both of our former interns, and then eventually became a producer. Now he's out at ESPN Radio.
He wrote still working in radio.
Oh my gosh,
like us.
Right? He wrote this wonderful thing about Tommy John, and for those who don't know that story, Eric was a senior at Fairfield, and he needed to write his capstone, his thesis, whatever it is. So he knew from that conversation Armin had with Tommy John, he knew that story. So he just called him out of the blue. And Tommy John let him come over to his house with his parents, tour his facility, hop on the golf cart. There's a video Eric's got out there, and hopefully gets tons of views, that like Eric did like an hour-long video of like why Tommy John should be in the Hall of Fame. Think about what I just said there. Some guy in his early 70s let some random senior in college come in who has no clue who he is, who the bosses let him in. That's Tommy John right there. Like, that is a cool thing to have that happen. There's an interview that you and I had the last time I think we spoke to him was during COVID. And the one thing you knew about Tommy John, and to what you led this off with, is he was going to go and talk. No filter, going to say whatever he wanted. We knew when we booked him, that's a 2-segment interview. So like coming up on the way, we got more time. That's 30 minutes. Like Howard Stern used to do on Letterman. It's a 30-minute. Someone's got to find the COVID interview with us and Tommy John, because that might be the best of all of them, because he had nothing but time to talk. I believe we aired it unedited. Am I wrong about that? Because it needed to be edited. And I think we might have just said, screw it. It's May 2020. We're just going to air it.
I think we put it online unedited, but I
think that's right.
Did he call someone a dickhead? He said something.
Politicians.
Yeah. And because I remember, I was like, because usually I was just, because I was the one who would hit the dump button when we were live.
Unprovoked, by the way.
Yeah. I was the one who hit the dump button when we were live. So a lot of times I was chill. Like I didn't, because I knew I had it. You know what I mean? Like guys would look like Beaker. Like he would just go straight up in the air, like whenever somebody swore. But like I knew I had the button. I knew what I was doing. So it didn't, but that was one, even I went, whoa, all right. I didn't see that one come, because he ramped up so fast. But he was just unapologetically real. I've been lucky enough to meet a handful of like Yankee heroes. You know what I mean? Like I ran into Goose Gossage at the bar at the Yoda Saga, and I was like, hey, I'm going to buy you a drink. He's like, you don't have to. I was like, I wasn't asking. And he's like, I like you. I told Jeter, I thanked him for being, so great to my fandom. And I heard him tell his sister I was a nice guy. Like those are quick little interactions, whatever. But like Tommy John, man, I tell you what, man, there's days. And I'm jealous of your relationship with your dad. I think if you guys don't know, Gaz, TG2 and Gaz, amazing relationship. It's so much fun. There's times in this, like I lost my father when I was 16. Well, I didn't lose him. I know where he is, but there's times when I'm just like, I wonder if he'd be proud of me. I think if I could like go, Dad, I was talking to Tommy John for like 30 minutes today. Called a politician a dickhead in the show. It was pretty cool. I think then he'd be like, all right, play it. Let's hear it. You know, like, I think that'd be one of those ones that he'd be like, all right, I see you. Okay, all right.
That's pretty cool, kid.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, maybe you aren't. Maybe. Hey, Georgia, he's not a complete waste. You know, something like that would have been said, I think. But yeah, he was. It's like we over the weekend. So Hayden Panettiere, the actress from Heroes, she passed away. That's sad because like I'm a sci-fi nerd, so that's a but like the two that hit this weekend, obviously Tommy John, because he was always so gracious and good to us, and Mo Ruffins, the anniversary of Mo Ruffins, Albany Empire legend, Albany football legend. It's the anniversary of his passing. So like those two, like not to rank, sadness, but those two hit, you know what I mean? Like they hit, not to make it about me, but that it breaks my heart. And the one plus with Tommy John is, as you mentioned, he was in hospice care. That dude was too strong to be in hospice. You know what I mean? Like that dude, that's the kind of guy, like, he goes out to hunt one more time, like he just goes out to hunt one more time, and you find him under a bear and they're both gone, and he went out like a warrior, like a Viking. So the fact that he's not suffering anymore is the one win from all this.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? I'm fatigued by it, the Hall of Fame discussion with Tommy John, because he should have been in 15 years ago. He should have been in 20 years ago. You just talked about the story of baseball. There's a wing in the Hall of Fame that talks about people who've contributed to baseball, whether it's a commissioner, whether it's a broadcaster, whether it's somebody. If you want to put in Tommy John and Dr. Job together, great. I think he would have probably thought that was pretty cool. If you're saying the doctor's got to go in with him, I think that would have been amazing. Because Tommy John didn't perform the surgery, but it got named after him. Right. But how many arms did he say? Like, that's a contribution to sports, and he should have been in.
Yep.
I would have and he said it, and I liked the he's like, I should be in the Hall of Fame, and he wasn't wrong. Yeah. He wasn't wrong.
No, not at all. Rest in peace, Tommy John. We appreciate your friendship and what you did for our show. I mean, he was. You think about the guys who put us on the map. It's, before you were on the mic, it was Schefter and Herm Edwards, who I saw on TV. He's still grouchy as hell. But Tommy John and John Sterling and, those guys, they put us on the map. Field Yates, who's doing great things still. But being able
to field or field in? That too inside of a joke?
Dude, I don't joke with Field Yates. He did not like my sense of humor.
There was a sales rep. There was a sales rep Levack and I had who could sell water. Was it ice to an Eskimo? And he just kept yelling at a client. We could hear him yelling at a client. You need Field and Yates. Need Field and Yates.
I was like, do you think it's a law firm or do you think it's a sporting goods store? What do you think? What do you think Mr. Yates is? What are you thinking here, buddy? Oh man, what a rough one. All right, well, that'll do it.
That's the way we end the show. We'll have more good things tomorrow. We had so many things. There's banners here. That's how good today's show was. We left.
Do we have any comments or anything? Anybody say anything?
Usually the Mondays are tough. Usually it's weekend stuff. I can dig quick, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, well, that stinks. All right, well, thanks for ending on a down note, guys. Jesus.
All right, I'll hit the button. See you Tuesday. Bye.
Hit the button.
All right, bye.